The bridge between the three corners of the knowledge triangle and research and industry should be as short as possible and as direct as possible. Horizon 2020 and EIT will be important peers in that sense. There's been an overall agreement that the EIT has come a long way since it was founded in 2010 and that we've already seen the first tangible results. I share this view.
Our message is clear. If Europe is to create growth and jobs for all, investment in innovation must be among our top priorities. The EIT is one of the best tools at our disposal. We have to use its potential to the full.
I guess this only can be achieved if we go and really overcome the mentality of silos. Silos within the countries, but even worse, we have silos between the European countries. And this is a true dilemma because innovation needs an open mind. Innovation is more than only outstanding science, it's more than only business, it's more than only education.
We are indeed an institute for Europe, and we want to share the first learnings from the KICs so that these are put at work beyond the perimeters of partners and countries participating in the current 3 running KICs.
Now, the ethos of Climate-KIC is innovating for low-carbon prosperity and climate resilience. Excellence is paramount. We have top universities, research institutes, big business, many SMEs, and also regional and local government.
We want to create economic growth, but also to enhance quality of life. That's why we're addressing societal challenges. What you need is to create, grow, and renew companies, techniques, methods. In order to do that, you need money, you need skills, and you need markets, but also you need knowledge and talents, and that's actually the ingredients for the knowledge triangle.
The key word of this mission statement is engine. Entrepreneurship is important, innovation is important, sustainable energy is important, but engine. We want to be the most performant engine in terms of innovation entrepreneurship. So people come to us because industries, SMEs and big companies, they see that the way we do things helps them to be more competitive.
My starting point is this one, and I think most people in this room will agree that innovation is of central importance to European growth and prosperity. So I think that's an easy one. Now the problem is, what do we do about that? Because innovation is a very difficult animal. Obviously, collaborative research is a good idea. So this is not a new idea, but I think that all research and innovation studies point to the importance of collaboration.
What are the reasons for this innovation gap, which is measured based on about 25 innovation indicators? I think the 3 most quoted reasons for this innovation gap is, on the one hand, underinvestment in research and innovation from private business, the lack of knowledge transfer and interaction between business and research, and the third element is that the framework condition, in particular when it comes to financing of risky undertakings, venture capital is badly developed in Europe, certainly also because of cultural reasons.
One is focus. Do one thing, do it very well. 2, to the degree that it's relevant, you can generate a certain sense of crisis around the problem.
We lack some role models on every, and I think not here in the audience, but we have some role models around us here. But in general, I think in Europe we need more role models on regional, local level, national level, and at European level.
And 82% believe that the EU policy is too fragmented and needs greater coordination.
That if in the United States we could add 20 new firms a year, that would, within the first 20 years of their existence, reach $1 billion in sales.
We need innovation today more than ever. We need innovation to address social and economic challenges. And as Dr. Schramm said earlier, these are not mutually exclusive. We can address them both at the same time, is a very important point. We also need, as we saw from the poll a few minutes ago, we need innovation for greater competitiveness, particularly if we see that 60% of the people in the room think that Europe's going to have trouble bridging the innovation gap.
I'm referring to the 3 criteria that should inspire the, let's say, technological and social and economical development of Europe, namely smart, sustainable, and inclusive. And there is a last point that the EIT should be mentioned about, is the fact that we have the ambition of being a role model that is not only to answer the question what we are doing, what is the impact of the EIT on the real economy in Europe, but also how we have been able to achieve those results.
But I must say that the first part of this session really made my afternoon. In a sense that, as John indicated, well, we know the rhetorics already, we know the policy declarations, but we want to see what is happening within the KICs and within the EIT.
And what Climate-KIC did was give me an opportunity that I never would have had, which is to really work with different people from completely different backgrounds. I did my undergraduate degree in English literature and education, and then I sat down in this room full of engineers and climate scientists, and I thought, oh my God, what am I doing here? But actually, it was great because I could bring my own business experience that I'd had. I'm a strategy consultant, and then work with these people who are much more technical and scientific focused. I feel like I've had such an inspiring and unique opportunity from Climate-KIC this year that it's really nice to be able to share some of that.
So, how has this Climate-KIC education program helped us? We've done the journey. I entered with just an idea, and then we made a concept out of it in the group. And it was just a very, very great environment to be around interdisciplinary people, talented people, and also personally great people, which I think is one of the most important things.
Most of the buildings in South Europe are poorly isolated. This accounts in Europe for 30% of total energy usage. Then we thought something has to be done. We were not the only ones, because by 2020, the Europe regulation will force all the buildings to be nearly zero energy buildings. We just said, okay, we take this challenge.
Effectively what this means is we collect more energy per square metre than conventional technology. So it's a very exciting breakthrough. It was at that point that we were introduced to the Climate-KIC and saw the opportunity of what a unique proposition the Climate-KIC is. And as an early stage technology company, it was obviously very, very attractive.
And the output of our activities is the CXOs and the top researchers of the future, but with a different mindset, a mindset of science for business.
And basically what we are trying to do is to change also the culture of researchers and professors, getting a more entrepreneurial mindset. And that is something that, for instance, we call a special program of From Science to Business, where they discover, and this is literally, oh, science can be a business. Yes.
In addition to that, we brought the European dimension into that. Now every of these ventures, they get trained by these incubators for their presentation at the venture capitalists. They can state we are part of a strong European ecosystem that help us to extend our business out of our regional, of our local market.
What's really striking to me is that we heard a contribution about setting up companies, we heard contributions about creating new markets, and we heard contributions about making new products and prototypes. So in the whole value chain, we have seen here 5 contributions of entrepreneurship with an innovation.
What is very important is the putting together of a consistent platform for support for entrepreneurship and innovation. And I applaud the EIT for its work in the ecosystem and the bringing together of entrepreneurs in that earlier stage of the life cycle.
We really believe in the EIT project. I think that the results we have till now from the 3 existing KICs have shown that this is a key instrument for technology and innovation policy within the European Union, and we think that is a key and strategic instrument in order to achieve some of the goals we want to achieve with this entire package, both Horizon 2020 and the EIT.
I know that all the conferences include much more wisdom in the audience than in those who are speaking as members of panel, so I encourage you a lot to stand up and speak on your experience, on your views.
Innovation always, it's something that we know it exists, but we don't know how to describe it.
innovation is much broader than R&D. When we think about innovation, we tend to think about R&D because that's something that we can measure. But of course, in Europe, as we saw again from the poll, cultural barriers are huge, and in terms of entrepreneurship and innovation, and one of the cultural barriers is the fear of failure.
When I say we, for instance, it's a we that is the partners build that create progressively a community, and I think this community dimension is very important.
Just being here this yesterday, I already noticed there is an emerging EIT-KIC community, family label. There's an identity.
Actually, the community is really what's most important. And you can organize things. It's a little bit like a conference, I guess. You get a lot from the talks, but actually it's the informal conversations over coffee that are particularly useful. And it's the same sort of thing with a KIC. So we can engineer a lot, but actually just bringing people together is really important.
We have to look at some basic stakeholders and try and develop an environment that it would make it possible for them to interact more easily. Open innovation is very interesting, and I think that there is untold evidence to persuade us that open innovation is the way to go. But that also requires trust. And I think that often the reason that you don't get open innovation is because everybody suspects somebody else of some ulterior motive.
And I think a small company cannot solve a problem by itself. Even a very small problem in a very controlled environment cannot be solved by one small company all by itself. It's incredibly important to build partnerships.
People talk about risk capital, and I almost think risk capital doesn't exist in Europe because people who want to invest with no risk. So it's like no risk capital that we've got in Europe.
In the framework of the EIT, we have a number of strategic components which make our approach different from other approaches that you see around. EIT is indeed focusing on excellence and on talent. But it does this to mobilize those people to the benefit of everybody.
Its other value is its ability to overcome the fragmentation of Europe's innovation landscape. But the EIT is more than the sum of its KICs. The EIT is, of course, an institute. And besides supporting the KICs, which is, of course, especially in this initial phase, the core business of the EIT as an institute, the EIT also has a strikingly important role to play in the development of the European innovation landscape.
The EIT is really, so to say, going from the idea to the product, going from the lab to the market, going from the student to the entrepreneur. We really like to act like a high-impact innovation venture fund, and our KICs are really innovation factories.